Hi, Mr. Sapone here, and this is the fourth video in our mole series, and today we're going to look at some more complicated mole problems. I don't want to say more complicated, but they're a little bit more information we need to solve them. So, first question, how many moles is 440 grams of NaCl? So we're going from grams to moles for NaCl. And the previous video, we converted grams to moles for individual atoms. So now we're going to do one with an ionic compound, with table salt. So we're going to start with what we want to convert. We have 440 grams of NaCl. And I'm going to multiply it by a blank fraction, as I always do when I'm doing conversions. If grams of NaCl is here, I'm going to want to put grams of NaCl down here. What am I converting into? I'm going grams to moles. So I got moles of NaCl. What's the relationship between grams and moles for NaCl? Well, I know that 1 mole of NaCl is going to be equal to 58.5 grams. So that's my conversion factor. And the reason is we don't have an individual element this time, we have an ionic compound. We have to get the formula mass of NaCl and plug that in. 58.5 would go there. So we would put this 58.5 grams here. 440 times 1 divided by 58.5, and you would get an answer to that. And we would get 7.9 moles. This is a cleaned up version of that. 440 grams NaCl times grams NaCl here, grams NaCl down here. 1 mole of NaCl is 58.5 grams because we simply added these together. We could go the other way too. We could say, what if I had 10 moles of NaCl? How many grams would that be? Well, 10 moles times, we got to put mole NaCl down here, and we got to put grams of NaCl up here. Remember, the unit we start with always goes down here. What's the relationship between moles and grams? Well, 1 mole of NaCl is 58.5. So we can convert individual atoms, or like individual elements between grams and moles, or we can convert molecules or ionic formulas or compounds between moles and grams. We just got to know the relationship between moles and the grams, and that's relatively easy to do. So that's how we solve that. Next question, how many atoms are there in 230 grams of sodium? And in this case, we're going from atoms, or we're going from 230 grams of sodium into atoms. We cannot go directly into there. There is no way to go directly from grams into atoms. So what we're going to do is convert grams into moles, and then we're going to get whatever that value is and convert that into atoms. So to convert grams into moles, we start with, let me just take this away and do it for you, 230 grams of Na times, well, if we have grams of Na up here, grams of Na has to go down here. And if I'm converting not into atoms yet, because I can't go directly into atoms, so first I'm going into moles. So I'm going to put mole Na. And what's the relationship between moles and grams for Na? Well, 1 mole is going to be 23 grams. And that's how you would solve that. And that's how you would convert grams into moles, just like we are normally doing. And it turns out that 230 over 23 is 10. I picked that number for a reason. So we would have 10 moles of Na. 230 grams would be 10 moles. How many atoms is that? Well, we're going now from moles, 10 moles, into atoms. And we just do what we normally do. Start with 10 moles. 10 moles times, when I cut out the Na, 10 moles Na times. Moles got to go down here, because moles up there. We're going into atoms. Atoms goes up here. What's the relationship between moles and atoms for anything? Anything. 1 mole equals 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd. Just plug in Avogadro's number. You're multiplying this number by 10. Essentially, you're just going to raise this power to the 24th if you know your scientific notation. If not, do it out. So again, you have 10 moles. We're going into atoms. 10 moles Na. These cancel. Moles Na in the top, moles Na in the bottom. And you're just left with 10 times this number, and really just raising the power 1. So we can do two-part problems as well if we know how to convert moles, grams, and atoms, just by doing them in steps. And here's our final question we're going to look at. How much would a trillion atoms of sodium weigh? So we're starting with atoms. We're starting with 1 trillion atoms of sodium, and we are converting it into grams. Recall we cannot go directly into grams from atoms because we have to stop at moles first. Moles is the hub for everything. So what we're going to do is the same process, and this one I'm not going to do it out step by step because we should be getting good at moles at this point in our studies. We have 1 trillion atoms, 1 times 10 to the 12th atoms, that should be 1 trillion atoms of sodium, times, well, if I have atoms of sodium up here, in my fraction here, atoms of sodium got to go down here as well, so they cancel. And my first stop is to convert atoms into moles. So how many moles is 1 trillion atoms? Well, 1 trillion atoms is only 1 times 10 to the 12th. A mole is 6 times 10 to the 23rd. So 1 trillion atoms is far less than an actual mole. So when we multiply across and divide by that number, it turns out that 1 trillion atoms is 1.7 times 10 to the negative 12th moles. Not even close to a mole. Like 0.000000017 moles. Not even close to 1. So 1 trillion atoms is really next to nothing in terms of atomic sizes and things of that nature. Wouldn't even be visible. Tiniest little thing, you couldn't even see it. So that would be really, really, really small. And our next step is to now convert this number, 1.7 times 10 to the negative 12 moles, into grams. So we're just going to do a mole to gram conversion. And we're going to start with what we want to convert. We're going to start with this. And we started with that right here. Moving down here now. 1.7 times 10 to the negative 12 moles of Na times, well, moles of Na goes up here. And we have moles of Na down here. What's the relationship between moles and grams for Na? We wanted to go into grams. Well, 23 grams is 1 mole. And we end up with a number 3.91 times 10 to the negative 11th grams of sodium. And that's an extremely, extremely small amount. You would have this much sodium. That's a 0 there. The PowerPoint machine is blocking it. But that's an extremely small number. Just shows us how small atoms actually are. How many atoms there actually are in, say, even a small little block of something. There's a ton of it. And to be quite honest, if we had 23 grams of sodium, a small little piece of sodium, there would be 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd atoms in it. 6, followed by 23 zeros. Keep writing zeros. That's how many atoms are just would be in 23 grams of sodium. Imagine if you had 1,000 grams of sodium or 1,000,000. There are gazillions and gazillions of atoms in things. That's why we use moles, because atoms are very, very small, and there's so many in everyday matter. So these are some two-part conversions, and this is how we convert compounds and molecules from grams to moles and so on. Hopefully that helps, Mrs. Spohn.